Hello learners, welcome back. Let us continue learning about another important document of a company, which is a prospectus. According to section 2 subsection 70, a prospectus is any document described or issued as a prospectus, which can include any circular or advertisement through which a company makes an offer to the public to purchase securities of that company. Security can be a share, bond, debenture, stock, or a derivative. Let us look at the contents of the prospectus. As per section 26 subsection 1, every prospectus must include specific information and financial reports as mandated by the Securities and Exchange Board of India in consultation with the central government. The prospectus must include a declaration stating that the company has complied with the provisions of the Companies Act. It should also confirm that nothing in the prospectus goes against the rules of the Companies Act. The Securities Contract Act of 1956 and the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act or the regulations made under these laws. Every prospectus should be dated and signed by the directors. The prospectus should also be registered with the registrar of the company. Now you are going to look into the various types of prospectus. The first type of prospectus, red herring prospectus. Red herring prospectus, according to section 32, does not include complete information regarding the quantum or price of the securities which are offered by the company. Although it contains details related to the company's operations and objectives. The company should issue this prospectus and file it with the registrar at least 3 days before any shares or securities is open for public subscription. Next type is a shelf prospectus, which is a type of prospectus that allows a company to offer the same class of securities or shares over a specified period without the need to issue a new prospectus each time. Essentially, it is a single prospectus used for multiple public offers of the same category of securities or shares. This arrangement enables a company to sell or offer same class of securities periodically within a certain time frame. To initiate the process, a shelf prospectus must be registered with the registrar of companies and made available to the public during the initial stage of the IPO, that is, initial public offering for a specific type of security or share. Once registered, the company can offer additional securities or shares under the same prospectus, simplifying the process and eliminating the need to repeatedly prepare and distribute new prospectuses. The validity of a shelf prospectus begins on the opening day of the first offer of securities or shares. It remains valid for subsequent offers of shares or securities, including any future offering within the specified period. However, it is important to note that the validity of the shelf prospectus cannot exceed 1 year from the date of the first offer. The next type of prospectus is an abridged prospectus, which means a document which contains the salient features and essential information of a prospectus. The next type of a prospectus is offer for sale or deemed prospectus. An offer for sale or deemed prospectus refers to the public sale of securities by an existing shareholder through the issuance of a prospectus. According to section 25 of the Companies Act, if a company allocates or agrees to allocate securities with the intention that some or all of them will be sold to the public, the document used to make this offer will be considered a prospectus issued by the company. An offer for sale is essentially an invitation for the public to buy shares of a company through an intermediary such as an issuing house or a merchant bank. The company may allocate or agree to allocate shares or debentures to an issue house without any intention of directly selling those shares itself. The issue house will make an offer for sale to the public. There are two conditions that must be met. The offer for sale to the public must be made within 6 months after the allotment or agreement to allot to an issue house. And second condition, at the time the offer is made, the company has not yet received the full consideration for the securities. Now remember one more thing, that since an offer for sale or deemed prospectus is made to the public through an issue house, it is sufficient for the prospectus to be signed by only 2 directors of the company. Finally, any document, notice or any advertisement which is published in the newspaper inviting the public to subscribe or buy the shares of a particular company will be regarded as a prospectus. Let us now move to the next section, which is misstatement in the prospectus. The prospectus of any company must follow the principle of utmost good faith, which means that it should declare all the matters of the company fully and correctly. A prospectus is said to be misleading if it contains any information which is false, or if it lacks any information or fact about the company which is very crucial for a shareholder to decide whether to purchase or not to purchase a security. Misstatement in prospectus is a serious offense. Now we will see what are the effects and remedies available to the aggrieved shareholders if there are misstatements in a prospectus. If a prospectus is found to be misleading, then the remedies for this misrepresentation are available against the company and against the person who were authorized to issue the prospectus. Let us now see what are the remedies available against the company. So, the remedies available against the company are rescission and damages. Rescission means a person who had purchased shares from the company on the basis of a misleading prospectus or untrue prospectus can apply to court for rescission. Rescission will give the buyer a right to cancel the purchase of the shares. The second remedy available against the company is right of action for claiming damages. The right to claim damages will be applicable to a shareholder anytime when he comes to know that there was a false statement in the prospectus. The interesting point here is, even after the company undergoes liquidation, this right to claim damages is available. We will now look at the liabilities which arise against the directors or promoters or any persons who have signed on behalf of the company on an untrue prospectus. So, there are two kinds of liability which arise against these people, namely civil liability and criminal liability. Now, let us look at the civil liability for misrepresentation in prospectus. According to the Companies Act, if any company or a director of a company or a promoter or an expert who has authorized the issue of an untrue prospectus will be held liable to pay compensation to every person who has sustained losses or damages. There are certain exceptions here. If a person who signs for an untrue prospectus can prove that he was not aware that the fact was untrue, then the court will not hold him guilty. Also, if a person comes to know that there is an untrue statement in the prospectus and he removes his consent to the prospectus, then too he will not be held liable. To understand this point more deeply, I will give you an example and then I will ask you a question. A company issued a prospectus which had an untrue statement. One of the experts, Anil, who had signed in the prospectus earlier, became aware that there is an untrue statement in the prospectus. So, this member gave a public notice stating that the prospectus is issued without his knowledge. Now, my question to you is, will Anil be responsible for misstatement in the prospectus? The answer here is that Anil will not be held responsible because on becoming aware that there is an untrue statement, he gave a public notice that this issue is without his knowledge or consent. Now, let's move to the criminal liability for misstatements in prospectus. Any person who authorizes the issue of an untrue prospectus will have a criminal liability and will be punishable under section 447 for committing fraud. A person will not be held guilty if they can prove in the court that they were not aware that the statement is false. Also, if the untrue statement is not material, that is, not important one, then too the court will not charge the person. This completes the portion for prospectus and misstatements in the prospectus. Thank you for tuning in.